Angie Cliff, and I'm with MC Professional Lawn Care and Snow Plowing, and we're in Ashtabula, Ohio. And I want to say we have been using Service Autopilot probably, it'll be maybe 3 years the first of the year.
Okay, so the company's been using Service Autopilot for 3 years, but Angie has not been using Service Autopilot for 3 years.
Angie has been using Service Autopilot maybe a year, maybe. Not to its fullest capabilities for a year, but for about a year.
Okay, so you and I were talking about this before, and the one thing I said I just had to get on here was how you were adamantly opposed to learning the software. You didn't like it. You put up brick walls between you and the software.
Yes, I'm not a techie person, and I think new things, especially new tech-related things, they scare me. And so I kind of shy away from things that I don't understand because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So if I don't understand it, then I don't want to do it. I don't want any part of it. And my husband was full force Service Autopilot, and it kind of built a barrier between us. And the more he pushed it, the more I shied away from it, and I built like this brick wall. And the more he pushed, I double reinforced that brick wall, and there was no way I was going to use Service Autopilot. And it was like the mistress in our marriage. He was dating Service Autopilot, and I was jealous of Service Autopilot. And then there finally came a time when it became very obvious that I was going to have to give in, because this is how our business was running. This is the direction it was going. This was our future. So I started to use it a little bit at a time, but I didn't fully understand it. I could look at a customer, or I could look at the dispatch board, but I couldn't use the dispatch board. But I could look at a client, I could take messages, but I couldn't schedule a service. I could tell a customer what their service was or their balance, but that was pretty much it. I would take messages and then tell him what to do. I couldn't even take the messages and put them in the call log. I didn't understand any of it. So then I started watching some of the videos, and they gave me a lot of knowledge. Watching the videos alone allowed me to start using it, the intro videos. And then I came to Dallas this year, and I got some individualized training, which just elaborated on the knowledge that I had gotten from watching the videos. And now I use Service Autopilot like a pro. You wouldn't know that I didn't know how to use it before. There's really not much inside of it that I don't know how to do. I even started our fertilization in Service Autopilot. No one else has used it. I'm 100% putting everything in. I'm at the point now where my husband has to do the formulas because I don't know the concentrations that we use, but that's it. I'm the one that's doing it, and I would have never guessed that before.
I think the one thing that I've really enjoyed about doing these talks with people is that and I think your story's even a little bit more interesting, is if you could go back and talk to Angie 6 months ago or a year ago before you were using Service Autopilot, what would you tell that Angie?
I think I would tell that Angie to lighten up and start using it 3 years ago, because it makes it a lot easier. Maybe Michael could have come home earlier in the evening if I hadn't been just giving him all of those messages, or giving the office manager all of those messages that they had to then take care of and put in the computer. There wouldn't have been so much anger and resentment between all of us, because that's what I was, angry and resentful that they knew how to work everything and they could run the business, and they were taking away what I knew, which was QuickBooks and paper. So
what is next for Angie, and what is next for MC Professional Lawn Care?
Oh, well, MC Professional Lawn Care is continuing to grow. Like I think we had just discussed, this year is kind of a cleanup year for us, because last year we actually grew our business by about 52%. We're pushing the $1 million marker this year. It's going to be close if we push enough snow. So I know people don't want it to snow. We need it to snow, or we're not going to make that mile point this year. But if we don't, we're going to have to make it next year. After this cleanup year, we're going to have to really push marketing next year and get that done. I will tell you that before Service Autopilot, we are Academy members. So before Service Autopilot and before Service Autopilot Academy, our business was grossing $250 a year. And we're looking at potentially making that $1 million mark this year, and that
So-
is a huge deal.
So less than 5 years,
Mhm.
you guys have gone from 250,000 to almost hitting the million.
Yes, and that's why I said this is our cleanup year, because we had all of that rapid growth, and we have to clean up a little bit, get some good people on staff for next year, and then we did maybe one round of marketing this year because we had way too much cleanup to do, and then get those people in place at the beginning of next year, and then hit that marketing hard next year and watch her grow some more.